Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the No Respect Podcast. We are here to do a quick believe it or not segment for a little fellow here, Brendan Gallagher, sturdy, bull-like, but may not be with the Montreal Canadiens by the end of this season. That's what we're here to talk about. Join alongside me, Mackie, Alex, and Justin. Together we make the No Respect Podcast. Folks, we want to talk about this. Brendan Gallagher, simply put, believe it or not, will he be a Montreal Canadian by the end of 2022? Justin, your thoughts?
I think he will be a Montreal Canadian. I don't want him to be traded. I think people are quick to kind of badmouth Brendan Gallagher because of a tougher season this season. But I mean, the whole Habs organization has been terrible this season. We can all admit it. But just last season, he was on pace for 30 goals in a shortened season that was shortened by some injuries and obviously COVID. But yeah, I think he's still a great player and he can still be a very impactful player. And whether or not we rebuild, he can be a good player to kind of be the leader for the young players coming in, or he can be a player you kind of build around. So for me, I think he should stay.
Given the contract and the context of the Montreal Canadiens, Alex, do you have a different opinion on this? Do you believe it that he'll be a player that's staying?
It's a tough one. I'd be very surprised to see him moved by the deadline or at the deadline, but I would not be surprised to see Montreal shopping him during the summer. And the reason for that is that he's an aging player. Obviously, he's had the injury issues. And I think now is the time you have to get whatever value you can for him. Unfortunately for us as fans, I mean, I love Brendan Gallagher. I love watching him play. But realistically, with the timeline of this team now, he might not fit. And I'd like to bring up a suggestion from friend of the show, Tony Marinaro. He was saying that LA is a possible spot for Brendan Gallagher. And if you think about it, Phil Danault's there. They had great chemistry. They worked excellently together. And now as well, Marc Bergevin has joined the squad in LA. So there's some links, there's some possibilities there. I guess we'll see what happens. But yeah, my take is I'd be surprised to see him move soon, but not surprised to see him leave prior to the start of next year.
Yeah, just to follow up on the LA take, it would be meaning that at least the suggestion that Tony Marinaro made, again, a pretty solid one here, is that taking back Dustin Brown and maybe a little bit extra and sending over Brendan Gallagher, who is, yes, an aging asset, but maybe not to the same extent as a Dustin Brown. So that would be interesting to see. When it comes back to Brendan Gallagher, the context of the Montreal Canadiens, however, on my side, I don't know if it makes sense that he would stay. Like Jeff Gordon, I've seen it in New York. We've seen it in New York, is that he's not afraid to kind of move these pieces. I don't know if it's similar, but the Derek Brassard move from Mika Zibanejad comes to mind. Derek Brassard, at the time when he was moved, was a very effective player, a little bit older, and Mika Zibanejad was a player that was young and up and coming at that stage. So maybe that's the type of move that it will look, and I would hate to see it happen, to be honest, because I love Brendan Gallagher from the fan perspective, but from a more GM making the right decision within the context, that's what I think is going to happen. So
If I could just add something on top of it, I think trading Brendan Gallagher at this point in his career and like after getting this contract, I think and just underperforming just makes him have just less trade value as a whole. So I don't think you would get such a good deal from trading him right now. I think you're going to get more out of him from him mentoring the young players and being that new leader for the Habs as they step forth on this new Jeff Gorton era. And as people have said over the past few years, like, he's captain material. And if we buy into Brendan Gallagher and the fact that he can be a leader on this team, then that could be his future. And that's what I hope to see.
yes, these are all valid points, but we want to know what you guys think, okay? Just comment down below. Do you keep Brendan Gallagher? Do you believe it? Do you believe it or not? Is he staying with the Montreal Canadiens, and what do you want in return given the context of this shit season for the Montreal Canadiens? Without further ado, this was the No Respect Podcast with a little mini clip for this week, and we'll be back for another podcast soon enough. Please follow us, like, subscribe, all of those great things to help the channel if you may, and we'll see you guys soon. Go Habs, go.